It's the 5th day. We just arrived at the location where we filmed the Apollo press conference. The extras arrived. We are setting everything up. It's very stressful from the first minute. And I'm not gonna say I'm feeling optimistic today, because yesterday it didn't work. So I'm just gonna be cautious today. And here's why it's stressful. Yesterday evening we were filming the toilet scenes. We went home to sleep and we had to wake up only a few hours later, and 30 people needed to move to a whole new location 1.5 hours away from our hometown. And here we need to have catering, we need to have water, drinks, snacks throughout the whole day. The makeup department needs to be set up. We had to move tons of costumes for all the extras who will be arriving. The art department came with a van completely full of period tables and chairs and props, and grip department brought a van full of lighting equipment. All of this is a big logistical nightmare. And after all that, your producers need a hug. The guys have to set up the table for the press conference and the logo. We are filming in this old theater. It's all decorated in wood. It's looking very nice. Today we're filming the Apollo 11 press conference scene. This press conference actually did take place after the astronauts returned from the moon. When we were planning this, we needed some extras because we have Neil Armstrong, but we don't have Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins, right? So we were like, who's gonna play them? Nobody that we knew looked like them. And then we were browsing through the photos of the original people, and I realized that Michael Collins had mustache, you know, when he returned from the moon. And Dino looked at me, he said, well, you have mustache. And I said, okay, you know, I know where you're going with this. Okay, I'm in, right? Our hairdresser is called Matza. She's a little bit nervous today, so she's not gentle with me. But I can take it.
Yeah, done.
But the thing is, I've been growing my hair for almost a year now, with one wish. I want to have a mullet. And I was scared that they're gonna cut away my whole hair because I have to look like Collins. But I managed to negotiate that they leave the back side of my hair. Cameo time.
The director's getting in like Tarantino style.
Yeah.
And check this out. He's hiding his mullet.
Oh yeah.
When you have a mullet, you call it a mullet.
Mullet. I must say it was very calming to be in the makeup, you know. Otherwise I would just run around and panic all the time because, you know, we're running late or something, and I just didn't care. I was sitting here for half an hour meditating. It's cool. While the guys were setting up the lights, Sam rehearsed the lines.
I can't tell you much more precisely where I'm going, and that's to the little boy's room. If space teaches you anything, it's to appreciate the quality of a good old-fashioned pee.
In our heads, this movie is pretty serious in terms of its theme and especially production. But every single scene here revolves around peeing. I mean, we even managed to include it in the press conference.
You will take the first sip.
Okay.
And people will kneel. So the audience knows, okay, he drinks soda.
But I love it. I mean, I absolutely love it. We have a problem with these stupid things. They're doing some school plays and something, you know, in this space. So they glue a lot of stuff on these curtains, and there's so many leftover paper, and it looks like shit in the shot. And we'll probably have to delete like 100 of them in post.
You will be Bob's entrance into the film. You will be kind of like introducing him to the audience, because we know you obviously till this point.
Right.
So you will have a kind of like a moment where you know lean in and Bob whispers you something, you two could laugh. Just a line before.
We are checking out some footage from the Apollo press conference to see how they actually set. How did they move with their body? Buzz is very military oriented, you know, he sits strongly like this.
Yes, sir, yes.
And Collins is just like,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Let's do just one rehearsal, okay? Okay, let's do it. Okay, one rehearsal.
And action.
I believe humans have an infinite amount of heartbeats, and I ain't wasting any of mine on exercise.
This scene is basically an introduction to Neil Armstrong's character. It's the first time we see him in the film, and he answers to a couple of questions from the news reporters, and throughout the whole scene he's drinking a lot of Dr. Pee-Pee. You can see we are still trying to use the weird framing whenever we can. There's a strong symmetry in this shot and a lot of space above their heads.
If it teaches you anything, it's to appreciate the quality of a good old-fashioned pee.
Like, maybe you could do one comedy, like good old-fashioned pie, and looking awkwardly, you know, into the camera, like, you know, maybe.
Yeah, down the
Yeah.
12/1, peti, kamera A i B.
If space teaches you anything, it's to appreciate the quality of a good old-fashioned pee.
There was a funny improv at the end of this scene. We all rise at the end, and Jack Van Keur is all over Neil. And I wanted to shake hands with him. And it was hilarious because Jack doesn't care at all about Michael Collins. You know, only Neil. We did the wide shot and now we gotta do the close-ups.
And the two shot.
And the two shot. We're working with two cameras simultaneously.
Action.
And for each take the guys would play out the whole scene in one piece, which meant that Sam had to drink Dr. Pee-Pee take after take after take. He's been drinking this all morning. How much did he drink?
2.5 liters, I think, now. Which is always fun. I can see why they would call it Dr. Pee-Pee.
Yeah.
I'll be running off after this take.
By now we have filmed everything with the actors, and you probably noticed that there were no spectators in the auditorium. That's because for the close-ups we didn't need the extras, and while we were filming, the makeup and costume departments had plenty of time to prepare them. We had about 30 extras on that day, and each of them had to get period-accurate haircuts and clothes, and for 30 people that takes time. When everybody was dressed, we gave them their ID cards. I was typing the names on the IDs, so the names are like this. IC Edik, Saul Ami, Nick O'Teen, Dan Druff, L Bino, and my favorite, Bill Board. So this is Dobroslav, Mr. Dobroslav. He is a news reporter, very famous news reporter in Croatia, and in 1969 you interviewed the original astronauts.
I'm very glad I have met Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins.
So they were doing the world tour and they came to Yugoslavia. European tour, yeah.
I made one article in the newspaper called "Are the astronauts normal people?"
And are they?
For me, yes. I believe that they do it.
Yeah.
Not everybody believes.
So today we are also filming a press conference with Armstrong, Collins and Aldrin, and that's why we invited Dobroslav, you know, to be our honorary news reporter and again take the interview, you know, like like it was like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like, yeah, long time ago. Thank you for coming, Dobroslav.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you here. Yeah. Vas četvero još gore možete u neki red iza jer tu ste van kadra, tu vas ne treba.
Ove rupe trebaju popuniti.
We have only 30 extras. I mean, only it's a huge amount of people for us, you know, but it's only 30 extras. And when you look at this side, it doesn't look like the theater is full. So you gotta rearrange them until it looks full. And I think we managed to do it. The extras needed to react to the lines Neil Armstrong was saying, but we let the main actors go, so Dino was giving everybody the cues.
Znači ja kažem smijeh, smijete se na taj joke. Nakon toga će ići pljesak, onda ćete svi pljeskat. Neko vrijeme, može?
Ide. And action.
Smijeh. Pljesak. Sad svi dižete ruke u zrak.
And Dino was orchestrating them with such passion, almost as if they applauded him. Maybe he was thinking that, I don't even know. He's gonna pay me back for this one. Now it was time for a very cool close-up shot.
Tak. To je super, to je dobro.
Okay.
Kuži se da su prazni, ali je popio u detalje prije.
We're doing a really cool shot. We are on the bottles, and then we focus to the actor. So look how this looks. It's so cool. Bottles. Dobro, nemamo sad.
Nemo snimati.
It's magic.
Kamera ide.
These types of close-ups of you know, hands holding props, we usually don't film with actors because we can easily do them afterwards with somebody else's hands.
Action.
But this one we had to do here because Ellen was in the shot as well.
Maybe.
That was a good timing, I think, yeah? Mihoci also wanted to record the applause separately, just so we have it for the sound editing. Another hard day, but we got everything shot in the conference room, like the press conference, and it all looks beautiful. We're very happy. Now we have one more little scene, maybe even one shot, we can call it one shot, inside the bar, which is going to be interesting because it's another space that looks very nicely. And that's it for today then, when we shot this. So let's go in. This is our art department, Adrian.
This is our art department.
And Matija over there. And
Matthias, prop
They are my favorite department. I'm saying it because they can hear me. No, I mean it. Our department did a nice job with these tables. You know, look at the lamps. The lamps are amazing. So that's going to be our background, and we are filming from across the bar. This is the bar, by the way. Look at the bar. It has cow skin around, and it's very retro. It's so nice. How are you feeling?
Shit.
You feel shit?
I don't want to tell you nothing about the light. It's my secret. I'm keeping it for myself. So we have daylight from outside, but we also have light sources from the inside, which gives a nice atmosphere. It could be early morning, you know, it's a cloudy day, or late in the afternoon, also cloudy.
This scene is the ending scene in our movie. I don't want to say too much about it to avoid spoilers, but it's just a small exchange between Kent and Ellen.
No, you don't smoke, Kent. It's just next to you. You're reading newspaper. No, you can smoke when you put the newspapers down.
Since our last movie, Slice of Life, had cigarettes in it, called Slice of Life, we thought it would be funny to put Slice of Life cigarettes into this one as well. So I designed a retro version of the cigarette pack, and you can see them a couple of times throughout the film, and here they are on the bar.
I'm a Slice fan.
Even though our two main actors are the focus of the scene, you always need something interesting happening in the background, right? So we chose some extras to walk around during the take, and then they have to memorize it and do it exactly the same for each take. And these two girls are actually in our production team, but here they jumped in as extras so we could have a couple of new faces in the crowd.
Action!
George Loser. Double S, right?
Cut, okay? Adrian, nismo mu ni rekli za dolar.
Imaš dolare?
Ne, daću mu ja svoj lucky dollar. When I entered the United States, the first dollar.
Oh, cool. Fantastic.
So, you just, I think it will help you. You just stick it on the table.
George Loser. Double S, right?
He looked pretty annoyed when he left the bar, but it's always good to have different options in the editing, so we did another take differently.
Cut. Okay, cool, Ken. Ellen, could you maybe do just one without so much anger? Yeah. Like.
And in the next take, George was more carefree, which incidentally was the reaction that ended up in the movie. So, you know, don't be scared to explore. We were late in the morning, but then we cut some shots out because we knew we could work without them, and we opened some more time, and now in the end we have the luxury of doing 15 takes. So that's like the first time we did it, because we are just hurrying through everything. But okay, this is good, it's good. Now we can have beers.
For the first time in 4 days, actually, we finished before scheduling.
Probably 3 minutes before.
Yeah, 3 minutes before. And it's 3 minutes. And actually, Luca has a mullet. Yeah. That makes me especially happy.
It's called a moulet.
Moulet. Very French.
Yeah, cool.
So thank you guys again. It was a real charm.
Yeah, it's good one.
Brother, fun.
I just have to mention that Kent leaving the shot at the end, you know, taking out cigarette kind of feels like Pulp Fiction. You know, he has the Hawaiian shirt, he just leaves the bar, you know, destiny waits, that kind of thing.